Lynn Eldrige had been given all sorts of labels: unwanted, an accident, broken, bipolar. This is what she'd been told all her life. Then one day, Lynn went to a church service, and there she was given a label that trumped them all.
Author and minister Lynn Eldrige grew up adored by her father, but rejected and resented by her mother. Lynn also dealt with debilitating depression and suicidal thoughts. Turning to alcohol and drugs brought some comfort, but took her to very dark places, dealing drugs and working with the drug cartel. In her book, Bipolar to Beloved, Lynn shares her journey from self-destruction to radical healing and deliverance.
Lynn Eldrige is here with us now, and we welcome you to the program. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm honored.
You write that you were raised in the perfect storm. I mean, as I read about your home life, I thought, boy, how many of us see families that look like everything's going well and functioning well, and underneath all of that is this turmoil. Talk a little bit about the family you were raised in.
Well, mine was a normal family, right? It was normal to us. Mm-hmm. And the culture was critical and angry, and the words were painful, but we believed that would make you stronger.
At 17, well, thankfully your dad and you had a very close relationship, which didn't ultimately provide everything that you needed, but it was helpful in the midst of all of that turmoil. At 17, you moved in with your drug dealer boyfriend and wound up actually working with the cartel. Tell us about that.
Well, I had hit a point in my family where I was just like, I've tried to do my best. I can't please anyone. Game on. Maybe what you say about me could be true. Maybe I'm a loser.
So it actually made you rebellious.
It did.
Yeah.
Super strict.
And where did that take you in your life?
If I can't please you, I can't please anyone. What's the point? I have no real desire to live. I really hate my life. Yeah. And so give it up. You went to church. You actually liked God, but you didn't like Jesus very much. Tell us about that. Well, I kind of got there later in life when I was a, quote, defeated Christian, because it's really an oxymoron. Yeah. Jesus didn't die on a cross so we could be defeated. Yeah. And my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And then, sometimes we have the knowledge, but not the wisdom to apply it. And gross immaturity was the emotional life that I led, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you can be grossly immature and get stunted in life, even by trauma.
Well, especially by trauma. I think that kind of halts your growth.
Absolutely.
In certain places. Talk a little bit about the times that you felt suicidal, because I think when people struggle with mental health issues, you were diagnosed as bipolar and then discovered later on there was a whole history in your family of people struggling with that. And there's a helplessness and a hopelessness because nobody seems to be able to offer an answer. What was that like for you when you were going through those suicidal times?
Well, I always thought the answer for me was on the outside of me. So maybe when I found the right man, when I got the right job, if I was in the right city, when I had enough money, when... and it was always elusive because nothing outside of me would ever fix that God longing in my soul, the place that I needed healing on the inside of me. I needed Jesus, and I was angry.
So how did you go from feeling like Jesus wasn't the answer for you to Jesus, understanding that Jesus was exactly who you needed?
Right. Well, I just got outsmarted. God outsmarted me.
Way,
yes, it was. It was pain that brought me to my knees. And I got instant freedom once when I was about 17 years old, but I didn't know God's ways. So I didn't get to keep my freedom. I ended up opening doors by dishonoring my mother, by being in unforgiveness about you, because you remind me a lot of my mother, so I'm judging you. And my perception became my reality, and it will become my next book on perceptions.
Yes.
And so I opened all the doors, and everything came back.
Your cousin took you to church, and you went. It was kind of a last-ditch deal, wasn't it, where you had come to the end of your rope and you were contemplating suicide, and it was your cousin, so you went. At church, You heard a message that touched you, and someone told you about something called the healing room. What happened?
Right. Well, what really touched me is the man who I still have no idea to this day who he was. He was a traveling evangelist, I guess. And he called out a word of knowledge, which I'd never seen before, and pointed at me and said, I see depression from childhood and addiction. And I'm like, yes.
That would be me.
And I did what I had learned as a kid growing up. I went up to the altar and people started praying for me. And a woman put a card in my hand to a healing room. And I got up and I said, show me one person in this place that Jesus has ever healed. And I got up suicidal, bipolar, hateful. But I went to that healing room a couple weeks later. And this woman came in and she had a word of knowledge. She said, Jesus told me you were coming. He wants me to play a song for you. Come with me. And they played a song about being broken and dying. And no one can help me. By Dennis Jernigan.
Yeah,
and
I love him.
The walls came down. They prayed for me. I started crying, and I told God I'd give him one more chance. You had compassion on the multitude, and you healed them all. You're not a respecter of persons. You're not a man that you should lie. Show up or kill me, because one of us is going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I find it hard to believe that you healed them all. I'm one.
Yeah.
I'll give you all I have one more time. Let's go big or go home.
Talk to people who are watching us right now, thinking really just what you thought.
Right.
There's no hope for me.
He is the God of hope. He is hope personified. And when I put down my anger and my self-hate and asked him for help, he helped me learn how to get rid of all of that. People came into my life in a little town in Illinois, didn't need some big place. God provides. You ask, you seek, he will come. He will come to you in your own home, or he will come.
Yeah.
Because Psalm 116 describes it. I cried out to the Lord, and he heard my prayer, and he cut me free from the cords of death. And he is no respecter of persons. If he'll do it for me, he'll do it for you. He does show up for those who seek him with all their heart. And I was given a gift of desperation. And I pray that if you're feeling that desperation and suicide, that you listen to the voice of love. He's not angry. He's not judgmental. He's not displeased with you. He's in love with you. It's a love story.
And he takes the broken pieces when you offer them to them, and he makes bread for others to feast. And you have done that with your book, Bipolar to Beloved, and it comes with a wonderful companion workbook. And I know this will make a huge difference in the lives of so many people. Just thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story and helping others to find the same freedom that you found then.
Thank you very much. Also on my website, there's a suicidal thought renouncement card.
Awesome.
And it can be downloaded.
Okay. Tell us your website.
It is LynnEldrige.com, and that's ELDRIDGE.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, the book is called Bipolar to Beloved, A Journey from Mental Illness to Freedom, and it is available nationwide. If you need someone to talk to, our phone lines are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's a friend on the other end of that line who would love to talk with you, pray with you like a friend prayed with Lynn. Our number's toll-free, 1-800-700-7000. Great to have you here today.
Thank you very much.